Hello and welcome to this review of Heaven Hill Mild and Mellow Kentucky Blended Whiskey. There is one other video review. I was just watching Bobby Lee with Working Man's Whiskey, and I'll talk about his score later. I've never seen this scored on any other whiskey liquor website. Okay, it's Kentucky Blended Whiskey. From what I could find out, it seems like it was introduced around 1937, okay? It's their, one of their blended whiskey brands, but it's the Heaven Hill titled blended whiskey. They make a number of them at Heaven Hill in Bardstown, Kentucky, like Aristocrat, and there's some other names, probably the same stuff in different bottles, or nearly the same. It's 80-20 blend, 80% grain neutral spirits, 20% Kentucky straight whiskey. And it's sour mash Kentucky straight whiskey. Okay, so they use sour mash whiskey and 80% grain neutral spirits. That's the minimum. They're going with the minimum U.S. government requirements. It has to be at least 20% straight whiskey. Okay, blended, listen to this, blended and bottled by Heaven Hill Distilleries, Incorporated, Bardstown, Nelson County, Kentucky. I wanted to visit that place, but the timelines weren't working out too well. Their tours didn't start till later than I would have been feasible for me, so it didn't work out. Heaven Hill Distilleries trademark, you see the two lions and the shield. It's a large, they say they're the largest family-owned distilling company in the United States, one of the largest in the world. They have many brands. Here's another blended whiskey brand from them, T.W. Samuels, established 1844, from Heaven Hill, and we'll get to this one day. And yeah, I checked the copyright on this, and it really was. They have the copyright for this particular brand was obtained in 1844. That was the first time that copyright was used. That's how old that one is. This is aged 36 months, I believe they say, somewhere on there. Yeah, 36 months. It's less than 4 years, so they have to give an age statement. I've never had it. I bought it at Mathern's. It was $8.99 at Mathern's. Sometimes you might see it on sale for $7.99. Very popular in Louisiana. Most of your gas stations are going to have this bottle or the smaller sized flask bottles. If you go to some of your bigger grocery stores like Dorgnac's, or say maybe Walmart more into the city, you get the big jug bottles, the plastic 1.75 milliliter jug bottles. Okay, never had it before. T.W. Samuels, not sold at Mathern's in this town. It is sold at the Mathern's in St. James Parish. All the Winn-Dixie stores have this. It's extremely popular, and it's about $7.99, $8.99 a bottle. Very big seller in Louisiana. You see it in all types of bottle sizes. In Baton Rouge, Hammond, especially Hammond at north of Lake Pontchartrain along U.S. Highway 190, Interstate 12. All types of sizes for this at Exxon, gas station, Chevron, whatever. So very popular. It's got this old label, but we'll get to that later. But when I was up in Kentucky, I saw a white label of this, and I believe that was a blended bourbon, T.W. Samuels blended bourbon. Okay, anyway. All right. Who has, how do you speak English? Who have been the distiller masters, the head distillers at Heaven Hill throughout their entire history? Always the Beam family. Parker and his son Craig are the current head distiller masters at Bardstown, Heaven Hill, okay? Now, since it doesn't say it was distilled here in Kentucky, it just says blended and bottled. That's telling me that they're getting their whiskey, their sour mash whiskey, and their grain neutral spirits from across the river, right across the river up there in, well, right across the road from northern Kentucky, right up there in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, at Midwest Grain Products, formerly the Seagram's Distillery, one of the largest in the world. Many of your craft bourbons, whiskeys, vodkas, gins are coming from there at this mass production facility. They're telling you, people are on the internet are telling you, look at the bottle carefully. You just paid $55 for this craft gin. And there have even been lawsuits about it. If it doesn't say distilled and wherever it's coming from, that means it was distilled somewhere else. More than likely at the Seagram's, MGP in Lawrenceburg. Okay. But it's very cost effective for these companies to do that because they get all this bulk from there. I was at Bardstown at Barton, and they told me, yeah, we just shut down our vodka and gin stills because we get it from somewhere else. I said, from Lawrenceburg, huh? And the tour guide said, yeah. I mean, they just blend it themselves, but it's coming in off a train. I know there's a train track behind the facility or on a truck, whatever the case. Okay, nice alcohol eggs. It's a caramel color. No, there's no caramel color added. It would have to give that disclosure on the bottle. Okay, no flavorings added. It's just straight whiskey and straight grain neutral spirits, which is odorless and flavorless. That's simply a base from which to work. Or the government said it should be odorless and flavorless. And Heaven Hill has so many different bourbons and whiskeys. Okay, I mean, I was on the road trip and I could have bought 10 different varieties, and I said, you can't. It's like beer, you just pick out a few. I figured I'd start with their base model. Well, I already have that from here. But up there in Kentucky, they have so many others. Straight bourbon. Many that are aged years and years and years. So, and then they have famous brands that they own too. Elijah Craig. They own Edmund Williams. They own the Christian Brother brandies and sherries and everything. Or I should say they handle it and they produce it for the Christian Brothers order. And then they also handle and distribute the Ansac cognac from the Una Cognac Company in France. So it's a huge operation here at Heaven Hill. You know, it's sort of like the other blended whiskeys I tried, which are very similar. They have a subdued, and to be more frank, a dull aroma. It's just bland, it's plain. There's not much to it. It's not bad, off-putting, or foul, it's just not much to it. Okay, people, 99 out of 100 people who buy this use it to make mixed drinks. They're not going to drink it neat, okay? They're not going to sit there and do what I'm doing. Nice alcohol eggs. Okay. The standard deviation for these blended whiskeys, from what I've discovered, whether it's the Beams 8-star, this, or one of the Sazerac blended like Carstairs or something like that, the standard deviation is this, okay? There are differences, but they're so subtle and they're so narrow that they make it a situation where you just should shop price. Don't pay, there's no reason to be brand loyal, all right? You just say whatever's cheaper, whatever's cheapest, whatever's on sale, get it. If it's a Winn-Dixie store brand private label or the Walmart brand, the Caliber, that's probably the best option. I can't say though because I've not tried them. I have tried the Albertsons brandy, which was fine, because it's very similar to the regular brandies with, that aren't private label, regular brands. And now they don't, I don't believe, produce Albertsons brandy anymore. They came out with a new one. We'll see about that. Same thing. There's a little, like he was saying in his video, a little Werther's Original, little, toffee thing going on, a little caramel, a little wood. It's aged 3 years in wood barrels, probably used, well, certainly they're used, charred, but they're used bourbon barrels. But you get a faint vanilla, faint oak, faint everything. If if you're looking for rich complexity, you're obviously, but you're not going to get this, but obviously you wouldn't have gotten it anyway, right? You're not going to buy something on the bottom shelf for $7.99, $8.99 and expect a lot. In that case, you're just hoping to not encounter anything horrible, which I haven't done much. I have encountered a few bad ones, but not too many. So it's, would I be able to tell this apart from the Beams 8-Star or the Carstairs or the Kentucky Dale, Kentucky Deluxe? I doubt it. In a blind taste test, I doubt it. But I might look up, just guess it correctly. But once again, don't pay extra for this stuff. Just if you want to buy it because you want to save money, it's fine. You know, you're not going to impress friends and family, and you're not going to make a name for yourself serving this. But it depends who you're serving it to. Some people, they're not picky. Other people are extremely picky and even snobby about it, and they're going to call you out on it. I mean, they'll drink it more than likely, but they'll just ridicule you as they drink it for free, and you bought it for them. Anyway, a little underlying corn note, some kind of grain note. There's a little burn. It's not a harsh burn. It's a mellow burn. Would I buy it again? Well, I probably wouldn't buy it again for the simple fact that I'm always buying something new to try. But in theory, if I was going to look to buy a cheap blended whiskey, yeah, I would certainly buy it again. Now Bobby Lee, he gave it a C. I think he said a C+, like the higher end of average. And I think that his score was probably fair. So, he didn't get on there talking about how horrible it was. Now, when you get to the cheap beers, wow, you start getting into some really questionable and exotic and frankly unpleasant flavors and aromas. Cheap wine, you can come out ahead. You go get your Carlo Rossi, your Taylor, your Parmesan, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. No problem. You start getting into these things like Wild Irish Rose, where only one of them is an actual wine. And what was the other one I tried? That MD 2020. Oh yeah, Wild Irish Rose is a wine. MD 2020 only has one true wine. The rest are flavored concoctions that are wine based. They present extremely odd and unusual flavors, and they're not even a value because the Parmesan and the Carlo Rossi is cheaper per ounce than the Wild Irish Rose or the MD Mogan David 2020. So I don't know why you would buy those. They really have nothing. There's no purpose to buying them when you can get something else much cheaper that's just enormously more high quality. Okay, but I would recommend it in that context of what I just talked about. Okay, so thank you for watching this video production.